On Monday, the City Council of Red Wing made a strong statement in support of police. It passed a resolution saying that it supports national efforts to make attacks on police officers hate crimes. Members of the City Council hope that the state and feds will take notice and change the laws. Right now, states and the federal government each have their own version of bias crime legislation.
So how do crime laws work? Good question. Heather Brown's been checking this out. So, Heather, I mean, they've gone through iterations in 2009 that they were kind of redone?
The federal legislation was redone in 2009. It was the Matthew Shepard James Byrd Jr. Act. You might recognize those names. It adds sexual orientation, gender identity, and disability to those protected classes. Gives the feds some more leeway in investigations, and it gives locals more help in fighting hate crimes, because that's where most of the biased crime prosecutions happen, at the state level. Who do you think should be protected by hate crime laws?
Race is definitely still important.
Or religion, I guess. That would make sense.
Disability, of course.
Trans people, gay people.
Should police officers be in this group?
Oh, that's interesting.
45 states, including Minnesota, have bias crime legislation.
Because of their race, color, religion, sex, sexual orientation, their age, disability, or national origin.
Actual or perceived.
Can you be charged with a hate crime in Minnesota?
Jim Backstrom is the Dakota County attorney.
There's various types of crimes in Minnesota that are enhanced because of bias-related offenses. We don't have a specific crime that says it's a hate crime itself.
Under state law, assault, defamation, harassment, stalking, and criminal damage to property charges can be enhanced if bias is the motivation behind the crime.
It becomes a higher level of a crime than it otherwise would be.
Just because there's an assault on a black person or a gay person doesn't necessarily mean it's a bias crime.
No, that's true. It would have to be committed on them because of their race.
According to the FBI, 6,000 hate crimes were reported in 2013, but the Department of Justice thinks almost 300,000 happened.
Prosecutors are trained to look for these issues. Police officers are trained to look for these issues.
Federal prosecutors recently pressed hate crime charges against the shooter who killed 9 people in a Charleston church, because South Carolina has no hate crime laws.
This is exactly the type of case that the federal hate crime statutes were in fact conceived of to cover.
When it is motivated because of who you are or what you stand for or what you believe in, you know, that's just clearly wrong.
Police officers are not protected right now under any state hate crime legislation, but there are already enhanced penalties for committing crimes against officers. And I also want to take a minute to clarify something I said in our story last night about how insurance companies decide who's in network. We said that starting next year, Walgreens would not be included in the Health Partners network. Well, instead, that network change would only affect about 2,600 people who do use Walgreens, and anyone who is affected by this change should have received a letter from Health Partners.
Good to know. Heather, thank you. If you have a good question for Heather, please email it by going to WCCO.com/link.